This is not a test. This is reality.
It's the weekend, and we are going beyond the strange with host Dave Cruz on Spaced Out Saturday Nights.
Dave's the killer! Yeah! Dave's the killer! Dave's a mess.
When the clocks, they never stop, they barricade my face.
You can follow Dave on Twitter at StrangeDave70. Hit him up on Skype, Strange Days 2015. And you can follow Dave on our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Things are prey. I push until I break. I feel them start to scrape. The core of all I am is chiseling away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. Remains of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct, love is to deny. And that is life.
The probability is low, but the discoveries of the Kepler mission suggest that there are billions of habitable planets in our galaxy alone. And there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the visible universe. So it seems likely that there are others out there.
Now, get your tinfoil hats on tight as Spaced Out Saturday with Dave Cruz begins right now.
You're here to turn me inside out and then turn me away. For all my life I choke on clouds of savior smoke until my blackened soul was burning away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. Return to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct and love is to deny.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Saturday Night. I am your host, Dave Cruz, and it's good to be here still on this gorgeous Saturday night, September 23rd. If you're on the West Coast, Sunday, September 24th. If you're on the East Coast, we are broadcasting live right here in the Napa Valley wine country, just outside the mystical Sonoma Mountains. Let's welcome in everyone listening on our terrestrial stations, WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are also live on spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, KTLK, The Fringe.fm, Renegade Talk Radio, the High Plains Talk Radio Network. Like our music and then rock with us to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy. Bumblefoot is the official sound of the mighty SOR. Also, you can check us out on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show, and tune in on TuneIn Radio. Download our shows from iTunes. We're also on RadioGuide.fm, TalkStream Live, and on Stitcher. And of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com. If you want to take part in the show, sign into one of our chat rooms on our website, also on Spreaker, on the UPRN chat room and on Facebook at SOR Space Travelers Club. Or if you're on Twitter, just go to the hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and I'll get to your questions and comments there as well. If you head over to our website for just $5 a month, you can become a SOR Space Traveler. And as of right now, you can go to Spaced Out Radio store, pick up a t-shirt, poster, or an SOR sticker. Don't forget about our Paracon tickets, which is going on right now, and where Dave Scott is chilling like a villain. We have the Encounter online that deals with everything paranormal, courtesy of our editors Eric Markham and Everett Thamer. You can check out Dave's latest blog there as well. And if you have an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. Tim Doyle from the UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV also have some great video viewing as well. All right, everyone. We all know that it's 12 midnight in the East Coast. It's just over 9 o'clock here in the West Coast. So we still have 3 hours as far as the West Coast is concerned. I don't want to jinx us, but man, we're getting rocked by some crazy earthquakes. I didn't want to use that whole word because, it's we're on the radio. So nevertheless, I want to mention that I'm very glad to see everyone here. I see good old Ron, Joe Monk, John Teeter. List goes on in the comment section. Tina Carpenter showed up, Len Dorman, Joe Roop of Lighting the Void, KTLK, the Fringe.fm. Very glad to see everyone in the Spreaker chat. And I'm very happy to see people in the Facebook chat as well. And we're going to have a great show. Oh, and of course, my homies like God of Thunder, John Porter, and others in the Twitter hashtag Spaced Out Radio. There you go. All right, everyone, let's get to business. We don't know how much time we have left. Paul Dale Roberts is the owner of HPI Halo Paranormal Investigations. Roberts in 2004 became a paranormal investigator, and with over 1,000 investigations under his belt and over 1,000 paranormal articles he has written, led him to become in 8 documentaries. He's appeared on History Channel's Monster Quest, the Mothman episode, Conversations of a Serial Killer by 2-4 Productions, Showtime's Penn and Teller Bullshit, Mayan Prophecy of 2012, Biography Channel's My Ghost Stories, Mysteries of Angels and Demons by Ive Street Entertainment, and Michael Jackson's You Are Not Alone in Search of His Spirit. So everyone, please help me welcome to Spaced Out Radio Saturday night, Mr. Paul Dale Roberts. Paul, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Dave, how you doing? Hey, you can add a couple more. I just did Travel Channel's Mystery of the Outdoors, and we did Sand Dunes National Park, and we did Mount Lassen.
Sweet.
Yeah. And Sand Dunes National Park, there's a lot of UFO activity over there, and supposedly a portal opened, and these campers were looking at this portal that opened out of the sky, and out from the portal came 3 Western-garbed cowboys on horses.
Really?
And something like out of the 1800s. Yeah, and that's like one of the stories. So there's a lot of stuff going over. Well, there's even a lady, she documents all the UFO activity that happens at Sand Dune National Parks, and she said that it was even reported that a UFO crash landed right into the sand dunes. And the military came over there, closed everything up, took the UFO away, and just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow, that is pretty bizarre.
Oh, yeah. But speaking of UFOs, we just did a MUFON report. And, well, let me tell you, okay, my wife, Deanna Jackson Stinson, okay, she's a sensitive. That's what she calls herself.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Met her, a sensitive.
A sensitive, okay. Sensitive. I'm sorry. Let me turn you up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
And, okay, one of the first things that she told me when we met, well, she came to me because she had some paranormal issues. And one of them that she came to me about was the mysterious eye, in which what she calls it. And it basically came down as a child, she was abducted by aliens. Okay, well, okay, I hear all kinds of stories, but Deanna has actually proven herself many times over. And one of the first times that she proved herself, and I'm going to get to what happened recently. Okay, we did a UFO investigation in Grass Valley, and supposedly there was a lot of UFOs being sighted there. And she took 2 crystal skulls, and she did something with them, and she told the UFO to power up. And she had some people with her, and the UFO actually powered up. Okay, that was the first one. Then the second one, we were doing an investigation over at Bodega Bay. And it almost seems like she's a magnet to UFO activity. And she says, okay, there's something in the sky. I'm feeling there's something in the sky, and I'm driving along, and we see this thing. It almost looks like a rocket with flames on the bottom of it. Okay, and we go, what the heck is that? Okay, so it could have been something military, but it was just so unusual to see something like that. That was the second weird thing. And now I'm experiencing these weird things because I'm around her all the time. And one time we're going down the road, and it was over in Sacramento, and I believe on I-80. And she had this compelling feeling to look to her right. And she says, look, there's a black cube in the sky. I said, no, there's not. And I'm driving down the road, and I have to be kind of careful because there's a lot of crazy drivers on the freeway, especially I-80. And she goes, I'm telling you, there's a black cube in the sky. I said, oh. And I looked just for a few seconds, and sure enough, there's this black cube in the sky. Okay, that was weird. Okay, so that was the third thing. The fourth thing is we're in Copperopolis, and we're driving down the road, and she has this thing. She's got this feeling to snap a picture of the sky. So she takes a picture of the sky, and this picture is actually publicized on our Sacramento Paranormal Facebook wall. There's a portal in the sky. She actually takes a picture, and there's this portal in the sky. And the picture, like I said, it's right on our, it's published right there in our, if anybody wants to see it. Okay, that was the, I guess, where am I now? Fourth incident? Okay, so, okay, here comes the fifth incident, okay. So, we're like, we're in Elk Grove, and she goes, pull it to the parking lot. I go, what? She goes, pull in the parking lot. I go, why? She goes, I just need to take a picture by the moon. And the moon's right there, right? She snaps a photo, and there's 3 UFOs. You don't see them with the naked eye. There's 3 UFOs in formation, in V formation. And I go, what the heck? And so anyway, I sent the photo over to MUFON. They publicized it, and they really don't have any explanation for it. But it's just really amazing because there was like 2 other people that used to have that ability. And it was Ed Walters over at Gulf Breeze. He would just snap photos of the ocean, out in the ocean, and he would get pictures of UFOs. A lot of people say it's they were phony, they were frauds, they were fake, but no one really came up with a real good explanation on how these UFOs were being taken over Gulf Breeze. That was Ed Walters. The other person was Edward Albert Meyer, and he was a Swiss citizen, and he was taking random photos and would get pictures of UFOs. So, but I'm actually seeing it happen, and I actually wrote an article about it in which recently the Elk Grove incident happened, and it was I called it the psychic ability to uncloak UFOs, because that's basically what she's kind of doing, is uncloaking UFOs that we don't see with the naked eye. She snaps a photo, boom. Or there was a few times where she gets a feeling, and I do see it with the naked eye, like the black cube. So that was something that's unusual. And just recently, okay, this is weird. Okay, so, and I got this photo. If you want to see it, I'll send it to you. But, here I am walking my dog, Hypey, and Hannah. And she's on her bike. And she has her iPhone with her. And she just makes she goes, don't look behind you, because the man in black is behind you. Okay, she's just joking around.
Right.
Okay. So she snaps a photo of me walking the dogs, and in the photo you can see her shadow, and right next to her is a man's shadow. There was no man next to her. We're walking at nighttime, and there's nobody with her, but yet you can see her shadow and this really strange shadow of a man next to her. And we have no explanation for that. It's like, I went back there to try to see what I could figure out, and I can't figure it out. It's like, where did that shadow come from? Because I tried to recreate it, and all you see is my shadow, but you don't see a second shadow, but yet there's this shadow of a man next to her. And I had that posted on my Facebook wall. So it's like, wow. It's so weird because, and just like today, we went downtown, and we did a little pre-investigation at this house that's, I believe it's like 116 years old or something like that. But it's a fairly old house. And she picked up, right as soon as she walked in, she picked up on a woman. She said, there's a woman over here, and she's been kind of messing around with your roommate here, blah, blah, blah. She has raven black hair, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's totally confirming it. He goes, yeah. He goes, and she said she's wearing like a purplish dress and da-da-da. And he goes, yeah, and I call her Scarlet. And I was like, what? I said, how did you just pick up on that? It was mind-boggling. Because I'm not a psychic or anything, but, yeah, it's just mind-boggling that she could pick up on all that stuff.
No, I think that's awesome. And, definitely want to have a psychic medium, with you when you do investigations or whenever you're, even in general, I would say that'd be great because they pick up on things that you don't. Yeah,
I've always used psychics as tools. Basically they pick up on the stuff, and it's up to the investigator to prove whatever they're seeing is actually happening. So, like, if a psychic says, okay, there's a ghost next to me, it's up to the investigator to snap some photos and see if they get some kind of anomaly in their photograph, or they can get an EVP while that psychic's saying, hey, there's something right here. Because that's one of the things that Deanna did in one of our investigations. I wasn't getting any EVPs. And we go into the bedroom, and she goes, you need to start recording now. I go, why? She goes, because the ghost is talking in my ear. I go, what? Oh, come on. And so I'm recording, and sure enough, I got an EVP because she picked up on the entity in the bedroom.
Were you guys able to make out what that ghost was talking or saying to you?
That one, it was just like something really simple, like I'm here or something like that. That investigation was a long time ago, probably in 2014, so I don't really remember all the details. But it wasn't too much, but it was she said that what she can hear, he's carrying on more of a longer sentence, but the recorder was only able to pick up a few words. But definitely, I wasn't getting no EVPs till she said something, and there it was.
Yeah, I'd love to get some killer EVPs, man. The last investigation was quite a while ago. Matter of fact, you followed up. We can talk about that later in the show, but you followed up with the Lawler House. We'll definely. Yeah, oh my God, that was good. Oh yeah, maybe we can get into that in the next hour and talk some more about some of your more how would you say, your profound investigations. But I want to talk about you, Paul, because this is the first time I've had you on Spaced Out Radio for Saturday nights, and I'd like to let the audience get to know you a little bit better. So why don't we go ahead and do that? How did all this start happening for you?
Well, what happened was I was living in a house on Effie Street in Fresno. I was a very small boy, and I was being attacked by these entities. And all the things that were happening to me, okay, and this sounds weird, okay, but being in the paranormal, you might call it crazy or whatever, but this is what I was seeing as a little boy. Okay, I was seeing flying skulls come into the room. My dad comes running into my bedroom to see what I was screaming about, and his face was a skull. And one day, I'm looking out the bedroom window out into the orange grove, and I heard this woman say, "Dale, come here." Well, Dale's my middle name. "Dale, come here." So she was trying to entice me to go into the orange grove, and that scared the heck out of me. Another night, I was like, my bed was shaking and all kinds of stuff. These entities were like really attacking me, and they even threw me into the heater, which burned my leg a little bit. And one night they were shaking my bed and I was screaming. So my mother comes in thinking that, and I was coughing. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I was coughing heavily. And my mother comes in with a tablespoon of what she thought was cough medicine. Turned out to be poison. And I started vomiting all this poison up. And she was shocked. She goes, "Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do?" And so that was happening. It was almost like these entities were trying to kill me.
Sounds
and
like it.
the most scariest thing that happened was like this thing. It looked like a black tea kettle, had wheels, and it was rolling down the sidewalk. And my bedroom window opens on its own about halfway, and here pops up this tea kettle, this black tea kettle. The snout starts pointing to me and blows out this mist on me. Well, the next day, I had bronchitis. I was sick. I was sicker than a dog. I had a flu and I had bronchitis. And so as I grew up, became older, I started wondering. I said, wow, did that really happen to me? Did I experience the paranormal? Or were they childhood nightmares? Was I having night terrors? So I just kept on wondering and wondering. And before I knew it, I was reading paranormal books. One after another, I was reading Brad Steiger. And then I started getting into UFO stuff, Eric von Daniken's Charity of the Gods. And I just kept on continuing reading paranormal. I became very fascinated with the paranormal. And at some point in time in my life, I became a journalist. Like right now, I work for Costa Rica Times. And before it's news, I do that one too. And I got into the military. I went in as an MP, military policeman, and then I joined CID, Criminal Investigation Division. But I was still an MP, but working undercover with the drug suppression team and busting people for narcotics and traveling throughout Germany, busting people for possession of narcotics or selling narcotics, blah, 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 and testifying at Article 32s and court-martials. So that gave me my investigative skills. And then from there, I got out of the Army, and then I went back in 1979, joined military intelligence as an intelligence analyst with Photo Interpretation Center in Korea, and I was working with image interpreters, and we were studying reconnaissance aerial photographs. And on one particular day, 6 photographs came in. And on the back of each photo, it said intelligent movement. And there were shapes of UFOs. There was the classic disc shape. There was a cigar-shaped UFO. There was one that looked like, probably looked like ball lightning. And one looks like a boomerang. And these were taken in outer space by our satellites. And they were part of a bigger picture. Each picture represented a video that's out there someplace. And all I had to do was give it a number. But each photograph said intelligent movement. So at that point in time, I knew that the military was still investigating UFOs because here I got proof of it. And those photographs, after I gave them a number, went to the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and from there went to the CIA, and then from there into a black hole and just vanished. Whatever happened to the photos, I don't know. Whatever happened to the videos, I don't know. I never saw the videos, I just saw the photos. But what really struck me is I knew at that point in time we were not alone, because on those photographs, on the back of it, it said intelligent movement. So our military knew that those crafts in outer space were moving with intelligence. So that was a big well for me. And then I became really interested in UFO activity. So as a paranormal investigator, and I call myself a 410 investigator, that means I investigate all things paranormal, from cryptids to UFOs to ghosts, demons, you name it. Excuse me.
No worries.
So that, from there, when I got out of the military, at some point in time, I met a person who was a paranormal investigator, and they go, Paul, you know so much about the paranormal. Why don't you go on one of our investigations? And before I knew it, I was a paranormal investigator. Before I knew it, I was running my own shop. So I have now Halo Paranormal Investigations, in which my wife, Deanna Jackson Stinson, is part of, and we have our own little team. And that's how I got into it.
Well, if you need to go ahead and get some water, no worries. It's all good. We have almost 2.5 hours left of the show, so we got plenty of time. And I'm sure the audience is just loving everything so far. I wanted to ask you a question. Getting back to the UFOs, was there any point in time that you might have thought that this was some sort of military cover-up?
No, because UFOs have been seen since the birth of mankind. And so I'm a very big advocate of the ancient alien theory. So okay. I really believe the answers are out there. It's that so many people are blinded by different religions and don't see the clear picture. They're seeing the tree, but they're not seeing the forest.
I get you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think the military may be involved with alien activity. I believe there's been some kind of agreement that the military had, and I think they know a lot more about extraterrestrials than they lead us to believe. So, I mean, there's so much especially with abductees who they're abducted and they're taken into the underground, and they encounter military personnel along with aliens. So, I mean, all these different people that come up with these stories, it's hard for me to believe that so many people have the same similar story from all around the world, and they're making it up. There's something going on.
Well, I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not trying to debunk anything, but what I'm trying to get at is, yes, there are ET craft, and there, definitely UFOs from that. But I've also heard under the, tinfoil hat conspiracy world, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm one of them. But what I'm trying to get at is there's been a lot of reports that it's quite possible that the military used this technology as well, like triangular type UFOs and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, like the Belgian wave of triangular UFOs. I really believe that.
Yeah,
I believe that has to do with the military. Yeah, there's a lot of, like the Aurora. A lot of people who maybe experienced seeing this craft, the Aurora, which is now legend. And the Air Force denies having a plane called the Aurora. When they see something like that, they misidentify it as a UFO. So, and just like a lot of my UFO investigations, I had one over at Gibson Ranch, and there was talk of people seeing UFOs and stuff like that, but they were actually probably seeing satellites. There was a lot of satellites. It was clear night. You see all the stars, and there was the Perseid meteor shower going on. And so there's a lot of misidentification, So, yeah, and a lot of that stuff does originate with the military. But as for real UFOs, oh yeah, they're out there.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. So you've definitely encountered this phenomena in your military career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
you started HPI. I mean, was it HPI at the time?
Yeah, it was HPI. The name changed around a lot. So it was HPI, Haunted Paranormal Investigations. Before that, it was, Henderson Paranormal Investigations, because some guy by the name of Henderson founded it, and then a lady named Shannon took it over, and she called it Haunted Paranormal Investigations. And then it became Hegelium. Hegelium Intelligence. What was it called? Wait. Oh, no. Okay. Hegelism, I never can pronounce that, Paranormal Intelligence. Okay, and this guy named Hegel, he always used the pros and cons. So that was our philosophy, use pros and cons to try to determine if something was paranormal. And then Deanna came over, and she became the co-boss on it, and so it became Halo Paranormal Investigations. So, and now that's the name that stuck. And everybody, the Hegelium Paranormal Intelligence, it was like no one could say the word. So it's like, Paul, please change it, you know. So when Deanna came along, Deanna goes, what kind of name is that? Come on. And then it's like, it became Halo Paranormal Investigations.
I like it. I think it definitely sticks. I have a concern.
Oh, yeah, it definitely sticks.
Yeah, I have someone who's concerned about you, Paul. A listener has asked me to ask you if you are you feeling okay earlier today, or did this just start happening with the coughing?
Oh, no. Oh, the cough. Oh, no, it's just like the air's a little bit on the smoky side. So, you know, that's what was causing the cough. You know, I do live in California. We do have wildfires out here. So.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I'm outside. Yeah, okay. When I do a radio show, I'm always outside pacing.
Oh, cool. Well, the reason why is because the listener maybe thought you might be under psychic attack.
Oh, no.
Has that ever happened though, where you might be under some sort of spiritual or psychic attack?
Well, it only happened to me once, and I wasn't a paranormal investigator at the time. At the time, I was writing about cults in America. So I did an investigation with the Hare Krishna, and I did one, the Hare Krishna, the Moonies, the Church of Satan, and the Church of Scientology. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this really good article, and Sacramento Bee actually liked the article, and they actually published the article. So anyway, when I went to the Church of Satan and started interviewing some of the Satanists over there, they gave me this pentagram-type necklace thing. And just all kinds of terrible things started happening to me. Mind you, I wasn't a paranormal investigator at the time. And so I said, okay, this is crazy. And I didn't believe in Satanism or anything like that. And I went to the Sacramento River, and I took the necklace off, and I threw it into the river. Well, still bad things were happening to me. So I went, okay, I'm a Catholic, but I went to a Baptist church. Mm-hmm. And I got fully submerged in water, baptized, and the entity left. And the attachment was gone. So, like, when I bless a house, I do a Catholic blessing of the house. But if I baptize anybody, let's say they have a demonic attachment, the demonic attachment will automatically leave when you do a full submersion in water. A lot of people don't realize it, but a full submersion in water is a basic form of exorcism. And that's how you get rid of an attachment. And I've been very, very successful in doing that. And my wife, she does a metaphysical type of cleansing of the house, and she uses different type of smudging wands. But we're very, very successful in our cleansing. And as for a psychic attack, no, it's just a California wildfire. That's all. Smoke in the air, and I'm outside.
Very good. It's okay, Joe. He's going to be fine. I just want to make sure that we just want to make sure you're okay, Paul. That's all. But
thank you for the concern.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, all right. So again, we're back to after the military. You started HPI. Was this something that kind of took a while for you to start getting involved in right away? I mean, as far as I'm thinking like you guys are sitting around an office and you get a phone call and it's like Ghostbusters. You go right out and you start looking for spirits and ghosts and that kind of thing. Or did this evolve from when you guys first started? Do you have the same crew? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be throwing all these questions at you. Just want to get an idea of.
No, our crew has really changed over and over again. Mm-hmm. So, our crew, it's like if you look at our group shots, the face just changed constantly. Right now, we really got a good group of people, but we've had some problems in the past. So, and one of the problems that we had our own little drama. When Deanna met me, she came to me with paranormal issues. Okay, and I never really dated any paranormal client, but Deanna and me hit it off because we just had so much stuff in common. I mean, I had paranormal stuff happen to me when I was a kid. She had paranormal stuff happen to her when she was a kid, blah, blah, blah. And just goes on and on and on. We just have so many similar views on things. So we're very compatible. So before I knew that I was dating her, and before I knew that I fell in love with her, before I knew that I married her. So anyway, one of the stories that she came up to me is about a story about a haunted car. Well, anyway, someone out there thought she was already married to me when she came up to me with this story, and we conspired to come up with this story. Well, no, she wasn't married to me when she presented the story to me. We got married afterwards. But Perez Hilton, the Hollywood gossip guy, he thought we were already married. And News 10 came to us about the story. We didn't go to News 10. They just read my blog. And they go, wow, that's a fascinating story. We want to do it. And I go, okay, come on. So News 10 does the story, and the story goes viral because of Perez Hilton, who came up with this. I don't know where he got the idea that we were already married, and then she did the story. It was the story before we got married. So anyway, the story went viral. It went UPI, United Press International. It went to the Daily Mail in England, and it went on Chelsea Lately. Chelsea Lately, she didn't make fun of it. She just thought it was an interesting story because we're talking about a haunted car. And the only one who had fun with it was Perez Hilton. So anyway, because of that, a lot of HPI members actually left the group because they were believing what Perez Hilton said. Well, now they know what the real story is, but it's too late. So it's like, okay, you got some sour grapes here? Goodbye. I can always replace you. So we have a new team. It's a great team. And we get a lot of phone calls. We get a lot of investigations, and we continue on.
I think that's awesome. And fun is definitely part of it. Besides, just the curiosity.
Well, say that again? I'm sorry.
I was saying, having fun doing the investigations is definitely a part of it, along with the curiosity of, what's on the other side, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the investigations can be absolutely boring because nothing happens, and it's like, okay, like when I was a cop in the military, you're pulling surveillance on the drug dealer, and he's in the house watching a football game. While you're sitting in the car, you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for him to come out of the house, but you're still waiting in the car because he's enjoying the football game, and now he's watching the horror movie with the people. So ghost hunting is the same thing. You're doing surveillance. You're trying to capture something, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. And so it can be very monotonous sometimes, and things just drag on, and so it just all depends. And then sometimes it can be very exciting when you get a lot of evidence and go, wow, look what I mean, I could think of cases where we're getting one EVP after another. It's like, wow, what's happening here? These ghosts are talkative. So those are exciting.
Absolutely. With the evolution of the investigations, did you find that you were finding more and more tools and resources as you went along, or did you already have everything and just started going out gangbusters?
Well, it's called sharing. So the investigators that come in, they may have their own equipment, different kind of equipment. So we just all share. I have my equipment. Other people have other things and other type of tools and everything else. So we just put it all together and we're ready to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about all the fancy schmancy infrared and night vision and all those other things?
We had some investigators that did have I have night vision goggles, but as for some of the other equipment, the more expensive ones, we had one person who had a lot of expensive equipment because they had a lot of money, but that person is now deceased. So it's like, okay. And, God bless them, but yeah, so when they died, we don't have that equipment anymore, so it's just the way it is. Yeah.
That's cool,
but
though.
The tools that we have, we're very successful. I mean, you get EVPs, EMF readers, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we're night vision goggles. Sometimes we see things out of that. So we're very, very successful with the equipment that we do have, And like I said, we use psychics as tools. I use my wife as a tool,
mm-hmm.
and she'll pick up on something, and then, like I said, it's up to the investigators to prove that there's something there. Just like one time she says, there's something sitting on this couch. And we start snapping photos, and sure enough, we get this big orb on the couch. It's like, okay, So yeah, I mean, so it's very useful, to have that.
One of these days, I'm going to have to speak to her too, because over the last couple of years that we've known each other, Paul, I haven't been able to speak to her yet, but. I know we'll have you both on the show sometime.
Yeah. She gets kind of shy about the radio thing, but I'll have to convince her sometime.
Right. We have a couple. Well, we have a few minutes before the first break, but I definitely got to be on time for it. I kind of missed it last night, and I thought I was going to be in some hot water there, but it's all good. So, we got a few more minutes. I wanted to ask you about spirit boxes. What's your opinion on those?
Well, let me tell you something before I talk about spirit box. Okay, and we do have spirit box. We do use spirit box. My idea, I don't know. I'm so iffy on that. I'm on the fence on that one. Because people, they'll listen to the voice coming out of the spirit box, and they'll go, oh, it said this. No, it said this. And no, it said, it's just, it could be saying anything. It's like seeing a poodle in the sky. You're looking at a cloud, and it looks like a poodle. Well, it's not a poodle, but it looks like a poodle. That's kind of the idea with the spirit box. I mean, I'll mention it in my article. We use the spirit box, and it sounded like it said this, but I don't use it. That's not, to me, as positive proof that the paranormal exists. If I get a Class A EVP, then that's proof to me. That's what I'm looking for. Or if I'm taking a picture and I get a full-body apparition, or if I take a picture of an orb that has intelligent movement, and I place my hand up on the garage door and I say, appear by my hand, and they take a picture, three cameras that show an orb by my hand, that's positive proof that that orb has intelligent movement because it went to my hand as it was told. And that's what I go with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they?
Oh, but I got to tell you something. Are we going on break?
No, we got 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to tell you. Okay. October, my wife and I, we're going to Boston and Salem, Massachusetts. We're going to be staying in a motel in Danvers. We have a layover in St. Paul, Minneapolis. And we're going to, we're going to have a rent-a-car, so we'll probably be going to Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And those are neighboring states around Massachusetts. But, you know, Salem, Massachusetts, there's a lot of haunting activity over there, so we're really looking forward to that. She has all these places planned out to look at. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we'll be writing about the Salem witch trials.
Right.
And they said the paranormal activity over there is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I can't wait to get over there. And we're going in October.
Oh, really? Well, I can't wait to have you come back and give us an update.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the spirit boxes... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to mention, you know, I've just heard different opinions on spirit boxes, and I guess it varies on which ones you're using. They have the kind that where some of them just spit out words, you know, that kind of thing, and then they have the ones that sound like they're on a radio frequency.
Yeah. The one that we have is on a radio frequency. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just not. I mean, I've sat through a lot of sessions of it. I'm just not impressed with it, you know. So, but I do get impressed, especially like we go into a hotel room where a guy is a total skeptic and doesn't believe in ghosts, and the EVP is clearer than day, Class A, and it says, "You need to get out of here," or something like that. And we had a case like that, where the ghost is actually telling the guy who's staying in that hotel room to get out of that room. And he was actually using choice words. And this was done around many witnesses. Everybody was totally silent when we got the EVP. And that cowboy guy who was staying in that hotel room, he was pacing the hallway floor at 4 o'clock in the morning because he didn't want to stay in there. And I go, "Hey," I said, "John, how come you're not staying? Why are you not in your room sleeping?" He goes, "I can't go in there. My room's haunted." So that's the kind of stuff I get impressed with. Okay, so yeah, spirit box. I mean, you know, we just had a case where we used spirit box and it sounded like it said Bob 3 times, and the client's father's name Bob. Okay. But, you know, and listening to it, okay, maybe it said Bob, I don't know, you know. But, you know, I don't know. I just don't get that impressed with it.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm sure maybe it's like it just depends on the case, the activity, the energy maybe. And maybe it just, you know, maybe some people have better luck with it than others. And, you know, I remember talking to some gals that, they have a paranormal group, and they use old school stuff like dowsing rods and pendulums and that sort of thing.
And I use that too. I use dowsing rods. And dowsing rods, okay, like, I'll say, okay, where is the entry?
Got 1 minute.
And it'll point me to. Okay. Oh, 1 minute? Okay. And then it crosses over, and that's where the entity is. Then it's up to the investigators. I use that as a tool. Investigators got to take pictures, try to get an EVP to prove that there's actually entity there. I'm not going to go with the fact that dowsing rods crossed over. They need to do more than that.
Very good. You know what? We can pick it up from there when we come back and get into some more of everything paranormal. So Why don't we do that? This is Spaced Out Radio, Saturday night. I am your host, Dave Cruz. We're speaking with paranormal investigator Mr. Paul Dale Roberts. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
5 days a year, we're in the field, investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over the Spaced Out Radio night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report and let's find out the answers together.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at spacedoutradio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience, Cosmic Passport, heard Sundays at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest, from Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together we own the night.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
Welcome back, everybody. So glad you can join us tonight. Really nice to be here, considering all the drama that was going on about the end of the world. We do have 2 hours left before it's 12 o'clock, so I guess I better not jinx us all. But I just want to say hi to everyone that's in the Facebook chat and over at hashtag Spaced Out Radio and Twitter, and of course everybody that's in the Spreaker chat. You guys are great, and make sure you put your questions in caps so I can see them much better, and I can get those questions to our wonderful guest tonight, Mr. Paul Dale Roberts, who's good enough to join us tonight. And again, I just want to welcome Paul back. Thank you, Paul, for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me. And remind me to tell you about our Sutter case. That was a recent case that we did.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's cool. I mean, we could start there. We know about tools and EVPs and stuff. There was a listener that was hoping to maybe get some of those sound clips from some of your investigations. I believe you have a YouTube channel where they can experience some of those things. Yeah.
Actually, they can go to my blog website, which is www.jasmaonline.com, and go to the section where it says HPI. Jasma Online used to be a comic book site because I used to review all kinds of comic books, and I used to interview all kinds of comic book creators. And I went from comic books to the paranormal. So if you go to HPI on Jasma Online, you'll see one story. You'll see over 1,000 stories. And some of those stories, if you open them up, there'll be links to the YouTube channel to listen to some of the EVPs that we've captured.
Cool. I'm sorry.
Hello?
I'm just searching I'm just searching to make sure I didn't miss any questions in the chat.
Oh.
in case they wanted to ask you, something specific. Did you want to go ahead and go over the Sutter case?
Yeah, sure. With the Sutter case was really unusual because the house was over 100 years old. On the sidewalk it says 1914. So we think the house was built in 1914. And this old house, there was a lot of entities there. And some of them, I can describe them. One they call the Chain Man because they've actually seen an apparition of a man who has chains wrapped around his torso, walking around the house. And the other one, they call him the Sutter Home Hunchback, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he has a misshapen hump on his back. The occupants actually seen these apparitions. And, of course, they said they see shadow people, and then they had the Sutter Home little child. And what was kind of unusual about that is Deanna did one of her tricks where she walks into the house, she does a little walkthrough, and she goes, well, I'm picking up on an entity in the child's bedroom, and it's a small child. And the occupant, which I can mention her name because I wrote an article and she was okay for me using her name, Laura Rogers, she confirmed it. She goes, in that bedroom, you always hear a child's voice. And I go, wow, okay. So, picked up on that, just out of nowhere. And then one of the things I did was to entice the entities. I had one of my investigators named Zandine Smith and my wife, Deanna Jackson Stinson, play the piano. There was an old piano in that house. So Deanna and Zandine are playing the piano, and the purpose of it was just to get the spirits all riled up. Right afterwards, we did an EVP, and clearer than day, the EVP says, I love it and want to play the piano. No, I'm sorry. I love it and want to play too. And they're talking about the piano. So that was one of the EVPs that we got. And then another EVP that we got was a Class A EVP, and I call her the gaspy-voiced woman. Because on the EVP, she says in a gaspy voice, get off my property. So that was a really, really good investigation. We really enjoyed it. And another investigation we did the HPI UFO hunt at Gibson Ranch. And there were some investigators that said they saw some UFOs, but like I said, I thought they were just satellites. I didn't see anything that was considered as a UFO. But UFOs are known to appear during the Perseids meteor shower. So that was the reason why we were there. But afterwards, we went to Dyer Lane. And Dyer Lane has all kinds of urban legends there. One of the urban legends is that a ghostly police car will come bumper to bumper in the back of your vehicle, chase you down, and then just vanish. That was one of the stories. Another story is that the KKK used to meet there, and they took an African-American man and lynched him there. And sometimes you can see the residual haunting activity of men in white sheets lynching an African-American man. Okay, that's another story. And you can look this up. All you have to do is just Google Dyer Lane. And it's one of the greatest urban legends right here in Sacramento. And the area that it's in is called Alberta. And another legend that they have there is a ghostly tractor. They see a farmer in a tractor, and he vanishes. The witches. Supposedly the witches used to meet there, and they used to sit around in a circle, and one of the witches got raped, and supposedly people see these women who are witches at Dyer Lane. And supposedly 2 Satanists go there, and when you go there on the street, you see markings, satanic markings on the street sometimes.
Right.
So Dyer Lane has all kinds of stories. In fact, they're actually making a movie about Dyer Lane. So the film crew, they're on my Facebook wall, and they're talking about, that the movie's almost finished. So we'll see how that is. But after we did the UFO hunt at Gibson Ranch, we went to Dyer Lane, and we were successful in getting an EVP. And the EVP basically said, "I'm watching you." So that was kind of interesting. So that was my actually 4th time at Dyer Lane investigating it, and that was Deanna's first time. So that was pretty interesting.
Then
we investigated. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, with all the EVPs and communication with the spirits, an interesting comment came up. Joe Aguilar in the Facebook chat was commenting about how, and I also did too, about the EVPs. I said it always freaks me out when I hear children EVPs, and he said that, well, that could actually be demons masquerading as kids. And have you ever wondered about that, or has that ever come to you where have you confirmed that that these are actually demons and not spirits or deceased ghosts or people ghost?
Yeah, I mean that's a very big possibility. Some things like that. Some ghosts could be possibly demons, and masquerading as a deceased person or a deceased child. So, that's a possibility, and that's something that we do consider. But one of my nicknames, as you know, is the Demon Warrior. So I do deal with that. And when I do a Catholic blessing, it seems like I'm very successful with it. And the only time I'm not successful is if they're basically a different religion, and it just, then it just doesn't work. Or let's say they're practicing some type of black magic. They have a teenager in the house that practices black magic. Okay, so we do a temporary fix, the house is cleansed, and they're back to playing around with black magic again. So now they have a portal open in the home, and they have more entities in the home. So when that happens, okay, well, I'm not successful. But if they go with everything that I tell them to do, and after I cleanse the house, after my wife cleanses it, my clients are usually very happy, and they say, hey, the entities are gone. So
very interesting. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really cover this, but I mean, for the most part of the listeners in the audience, I mean, I'm sure they know the differences between demons and ghosts and spirits, because they're not all the same, even though they're all like, I feel that they're all energy based. I don't know if that's true or not, but that these demons can masquerade as people, and even talks about that in the King James Bible or the Bible. People can take their pick, but that demons will play tricks on humans.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of demons. Well, even in ancient times, they talk about demons, and some demons were mischievous, and some demons were actually considered good. And there was like the demon who brought in wholesome peaches, and they had a demon for that. And, well, there's nothing evil about that, but as time went on, and various Christian leaders looked at demons as all being evil, but some demons actually had a purpose on earth in which they were doing good. So, and where do demons come from? Well, if you believe in the fallen angel theory, they would be from out there in the universe. So they would be extraterrestrial. Demons weren't born on Earth, so they're not terrestrial. They would be extraterrestrial. So when you're talking about demon activity, now ghosts would be terrestrial because they used to be humans and they were born on Earth. But if you're talking about a demon, you're talking about an extraterrestrial. And a lot of people, when they, think about it, it's like, what? They're extraterrestrial? Yeah, they're extraterrestrial. They weren't born on Earth. They were born up there someplace. So it's kind of interesting.
What about interdimensional?
Interdimensional? Yeah, some could be interdimensional. Absolutely. Extraterrestrial or interdimensional. Yeah, absolutely. But now some of the demons, if they are considered as fallen angels, angels would be extraterrestrials. Fallen angels, extraterrestrials. But some of the other demons, well, yeah, it could be interdimensional. Absolutely.
I've also heard that E.T., or even if you want to call them aliens, are interdimensional, and that's why their craft is picked up and then, all of a sudden just disappears. Because they actually just shoot right from this dimension into a different one.
Well, just like if you're watching all the reality shows about Bigfoot, killing Bigfoot, and what's that other
horrible
Bigfoot show? Yeah. I mean, they never capture Bigfoot, let alone kill a Bigfoot. And the reason why? Well, Bigfoot's probably interdimensional. There's been reports where a hunter shot at a Bigfoot and it turned to sparks. Well, if it turned to sparks, you're talking about something that's energized. It's energy. So most likely it's interdimensional. It can go from our reality into its own reality through a dimensional force. So yeah, that's why we can't capture one. That's why we can't kill one, because they're interdimensional.
That's pretty cool. Have you dabbled in other cryptids besides Bigfoot?
Well, it's funny that you would say that, because today we're doing a local documentary with a guy named Keith Wise. And Keith Wise, we met Deanna and myself. We met him over at Old Sacramento, and at the Rio City Cafe. And we walked over to the Tower Bridge, and the Tower Bridge has a story. A few years back, a person by the name of Mark Greer, contacted me, and two other people contacted me, and they said, we saw Mothman on the Tower Bridge. I go, come on, you guys, maybe you were drinking too much, No, we actually saw the Mothman on Tower Bridge. It was crouching on the Tower Bridge and it flew away. Well, I took the story down of the two guys, but they wanted to remain anonymous. Okay. Then I took the story down from Mark Greer. And Mark Greer goes, I don't care. I'm going to tell you what I saw. I'm a professional photographer. I was taking pictures of the bridge. And I'm telling you, I saw the Mothman. It had wings, it had red eyes, had no neck, sort of looked like a moth. It had a humanoid shape, over 6 feet tall, and it flew off the bridge. And when I took a picture of the Mothman, and he shows me the photograph, it looks like an orb. Okay. But he says, to the naked eye, it looked like the Mothman. But in the photo, it looks like an orb. Well, okay, maybe Mothman is interdimensional. It's an energy-type creature, and that's why it looks like an orb. I don't know. But anyway, I wrote the story. The story got a lot of... it went all... When I wrote the story, it kind of went viral. It got around. And everybody knows the Mothman story of the Silver Bridge, December 15, 1967. The Silver Bridge collapses. 46 people died. And the Mothman supposedly is a harbinger of doom that brought that on.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he is on our Tower Bridge here in Sacramento, was there going to be a disaster on that bridge? The funny thing is, all of a sudden, they're working on this bridge, making it more sturdy, more stronger. And why are they doing that? Is it because Mothman supposedly appeared on that bridge? They're not taking any chances. And now they're talking about closing that bridge temporarily and building another bridge across the Sacramento River. So did the city council, did the mayor go, hey, if Mothman actually appeared on that bridge, we don't want to take any chances of people losing their lives. Let's fix that bridge. So anyway, I talked about this on the documentary that I did today. And so they're working on it. So there should be something out there pretty soon about it. And the Mothman story is just really incredible because at Point Pleasant, not only did you have the Mothman, after the Mothman was gone, okay, when Mothman originated at they think a portal opened up at the TNT munitions factory out there that the military had. And somehow a portal opened up and a Mothman came out of it, interdimensional type thing. And people were seeing Mothman everywhere. It was even pacing a car and freaking the driver and his passenger out. And then the Silver Bridge collapsed and 46 people died. But after that, MIB, the Men in Black, was seen. UFOs were seen in the area. And another guy who was kind of harassing John Keel, who wrote the story about the Mothman, which later on became the movie Mothman Prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
He was calling John Keel and harassing him and everything else. And his name was Indrid Cold, the Grinning Man. And the people were seeing the Grinning Man around the area, and he was asking different people different questions about Mothman. And he was very intimidating. He says, you didn't see anything, you're not seeing UFOs, and everything else, you need to keep your mouth shut. And this was Indrid Cold. So there was a lot of different kind of paranormal activity happening there, from Mothman to UFOs to Men in Black and to Indrid Cold. So in Mothman, if he is a harbinger of doom, supposedly he was seen before 9/11. And when he was seen by the Twin Towers, then the incident happened on 9/11 when the towers came down. So, and Mothman, was he here in Sacramento? I don't know, but it's just kind of odd that they're fixing the bridge.
It really is, especially when you don't really hear about it in mainstream media. There's plenty of news channels in Sacramento, and I've never heard anything of a paranormal nature as far as anything with a structure, a building structure, or even a bridge like you're talking about, Paul. So that would be interesting if that's what they're going on with Mothman. And you know what? I would do the same.
Yeah, and it was the Sacramento Mothman actually was on History Channel's Monster Quest. So, and they gave me credit at the end. But yeah,
that's cool.
and they interviewed Mark Greer about it. So, yeah, it's an interesting story, and it's really picked up around here because a lot of people, if you see what they're blogging, they're saying, yeah, I was walking on the Tower Bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning hoping to see Mothman. So you got people out there walking on the bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning, hoping to see some kind of cryptid. So, but Sacramento River has all kinds of stories. Supposedly, on the Sacramento River, people have seen giant salamanders. They've seen a river serpent, or like a sea serpent, really long thing going down the river. There's a lot of ghost stories. One of the best ghost stories about the Sacramento River is that this guy, he's wearing a wetsuit, and he looks like a fisherman. He's all wet. And he comes up to 3 campers and he says, can I have some of your food? And they said, no. They thought he was like a hobo fisherman or whatever. Get out of here. Go to your own camp. We're not going to share our food with you. And so as he's walking away, he just starts dissipating. He vanishes. So these 3 campers saw him, and then other people have claimed that they've seen the wet fisherman. They call him the wet fisherman of the Sacramento River. Sacramento River has all kinds of stories. And of course, he had the big whale that came up the Sacramento River. That's not paranormal. But if a big whale can come up the Sacramento, I could see maybe a sea serpent going up the Sacramento River.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a question from Joe in the Facebook chat, and he wants to ask, has the guest ever investigated the Delta King? It's a paddle wheeler in Old Sacramento right by the Tower Bridge.
Absolutely. In fact, I investigated the Delta King. I can't remember. Is it the Delta King or the Delta Queen? It's been a long time since I did that. But yes, I did investigate it. And one of the stories is that a little girl, I actually interviewed some of the people that work there, and this is a story that they didn't want to get out, but supposedly back in the day, like in the 1800s, a worker on that boat took one of the girl passengers, molested her in one of the rooms there, and she was so traumatized, she jumped off the balcony, the second floor balcony of the boat, to her death into the river. So, and to this day, that little girl is sometimes seen by the guests. When we were there, I think we got a couple of EVPs, but I don't consider them as Class A EVPs. We got a lot of orb pictures, but orbs can be almost anything. It could be dust, it could be lint, it could be light refractions, it could be almost anything. It could even be skin flakes. And unless you can show some kind of intelligent movement. But yeah, the Delta Queen or the King, yeah, I think it's Delta King, yeah. But anyway, the Delta King, yeah, is supposedly very, very haunted. And you can just walk right into the boat and start investigating, get away from all the people at the bar, but just start walking around the different areas of the boat and investigate.
There you go, Joe. Yeah, I'm with you as far as, sea serpents or any type of sea monster coming in from the Delta. I live closer to like I was saying about, like in the Benicia area where, you can come in through that channel from the ocean and it goes into Grizzly Island and it can come into any part of the Delta along, the Antioch Concord Way, Contra Costa.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
And then right to the Sacramento River. There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. We did another investigation at the Dexter Manor, and this is an old house. It's 160 years old, and they demolished it. So the owners asked us to investigate it before they demolished it. So we had the privilege of investigating. We had to sign these waivers because the floors were just all brittly and everything. You can go right through the floor into the cellar, So it was really dangerous, so we had to be really, really careful. And this was in Winters, California. And one of the ladies, in fact, she's the one that got us the Sutter investigation, Kathy Payne Folk and her husband, Steve Folk. Both of them are my investigators. They kept on taking pictures of the windows. And as they were taking pictures of the windows, they were getting like human faces in their photographs of faces peering out of the windows. So that was just really weird. And then the song Memory by Elaine Page, this music was playing on the property. And we don't know where the music was coming from. It was like coming from the house, and we go to investigate, and then the music would stop. It was like, what? And then you walk away from the house, then you would hear the song, and it was playing over and over again, Memory by Elaine Page. And it was like, what the heck? So that was weird. And there's a person buried on the property, and his name is Maxwell Owen. So the grave of Maxwell Owen is on the property, and he's probably haunting the house. I don't know. And Deanna, she starts making this rock altar, and she says she's doing an EVP, and she goes, "Do you like what we are offering you?" And she's got this rock altar that she made. And we get an EVP, and it sounds like a military guy, and he goes, "Yes, sir." So he's calling Deanna sir, but yeah, it was real clear, "Yes, sir." It was like, wow, okay. And the second floor door opens by itself, and that was witnessed by some investigators. And so that was a really, really good investigation. So we got us a lot of stuff. We witnessed a lot of stuff, and that doesn't happen all the time. So that was really, really interesting. But I have some really good investigators. Some of my investigators, and they have really good equipment, like Bonnie Muir Waldron, if she's listening. Abigail Williams. I already mentioned Kathy Payne Folk and her husband Steve. Christina Vonasak and her boyfriend Justin. Mike Owen. Zandine Smith. Just really good investigators. So I'm really proud of them, and they do really well.
That's awesome. It's nice to have a crew and a bunch of friends that help you. BTO.
Oh, one more too. I forgot.
Sure.
And she's a psychic herself, and her name's Lisa Steele. So Lisa Steele, if you're out there listening, because I plastered this on my Facebook, so they might be listening. So make sure I say hi to everybody.
That's cool. BTO in the Spreaker chat is asking, what was the most compelling personal experience you ever had?
Oh, and I know you've already heard this one, Dave. One of the things that when I became a paranormal investigator, first off, I was very disappointed. mean, I was listening to the EVPs and I was going, okay, well, maybe those are voices from the other room. I was a real big skeptic. Nothing was happening. I was going to a lot of investigations. The evidence that I saw just didn't really impress me. And like pictures of orbs, come on. That could be almost anything. But just one night, this one particular night, in fact, I was so disappointed, I almost quit being a paranormal investigator. I almost stopped believing that there's an afterlife. And this one case in Citrus Heights, I went to it and I had 15 scouts with me, and those are paranormal investigators that are in training. So I had these 15 scouts, and I put 5 in one room, 5 in another room, 5 in another room. Well, 5 in one room are almost falling asleep because nothing's happening, no EVPs, nothing. 5 in another room are falling asleep because nothing's happening. And I go into this other bedroom where there's 5 investigators, and oh my God, you walk in, you can hear this little girl giggling. And I look at the investigators, I go, can you hear that? They said, Paul, we're recording it. I go, oh my God, you can hear her. And I can actually hear her with my ears, giggling, this little girl giggling. And the girl giggles again. I said, she's no more than 3 feet in front of me, sitting on the corner of this bed. I can't see her, but I can sure hear her giggle. She giggles again. I place my head towards that sound of the giggling. I go, hello. And she says, hello. I go, oh my God. I was just totally freaked out. I mean, I could hear her say hello. And I said, okay, that's it. Let's get all 15 investigators in here. This room has activity. So we're conducting like a little seance. So we're doing this little seance, and then all of a sudden the walls sound like they're ripping apart. It sounded like something like the Cenobites from Hellraiser coming through the walls. And at that time, all 15 investigators are running out the door. Mind you, they're scouts. They're paranormal investigators in training. So they're all running out the door, all freaked out. And I said, get back in here, get back in here. I said, we got to reconvene. We got to do this again. I said, this is a breakthrough. So all 15 are sitting on the floor again. We're doing another seance. And you hear a pounding on the wall. And I said, okay, don't run out the door again. And we had 3 walkie-talkies on the floor. And they're all on the same channel. But one walkie-talkie turns on, and it's a man's voice, and he says, get out. And before I knew it, all 15 are running out the door again. So anyway, finally the occupant looks at me, and she goes, Paul, she goes, I have to live here. She goes, enough is enough. I said, okay, fine, I'll send them all home. She goes, I'll tell you what, you're welcome to stay in this bedroom all night. I said, okay, I'll take you up on your offer. So we get the video camera running while I'm sleeping. All 15 other investigators leave. Well, while I'm sleeping, you can hear a woman's voice go, Paul, Paul, Paul. You can hear a man's voice. It's all garbled. You can't understand what he's saying. And you hear a little boy at the foot of the bed moaning. And you hear a small tapping on the headboard. And I slept through the whole thing. The whole thing. So I didn't witness it, but it was on film. So that was the greatest experience I ever had. And to this, for 6 months, that investigation stayed in my head. It was something I couldn't forget.
Do you think it might have been something that you experienced, I don't know, yourself in another, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or anything, but is that something that you might have experienced in another life?
The investigation?
Not just the investigation, but I mean, when it comes to, it sounded like, okay, so there's a spirit that said to get out, but it was more like it was directed towards these kids, right? Or these other entities. And, I'm wondering, it's just occurred to me that, maybe we feel like we need to know because we've experienced some of these things in a previous life.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, well, at some point in time, like I said, I was going to quit being a paranormal investigator because I just wasn't impressed with the proof of it. And maybe something was actually listening and said, okay, well, let's prove to them that the paranormal exists. And so all those things happened to me on that investigation. In fact, it scared the investigators so much, the 15 investigators, only 2 of those investigators stayed on board because it frightened them so much. The other ones, they had no desire to be investigators after that.
Fair enough. I do like to research, and I do want to get out and investigate more. But I think I like talking more to people who do this, but I also like bringing it to people around the world, especially now that we have the internet and we could do that. So, and I think that's why there's been such a big boom in these kind of programs, and it's really great that we can network over the internet and meet up with other investigation teams and find out what their experiences are and learn more information about the field.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I continue on, and because I'm definitely a believer of the paranormal. I mean, after that happened to me, and then other things have happened to me. A lot of the investigations, like sometimes we don't find any evidence, or we'll find natural explanations for it. Some of the investigations could be very boring. But then some of them are really exciting, and I look for that adrenaline rush, where something exciting will happen, and I become very enthusiastic about it. So, I'm always looking for that next fix.
Is there anything you won't investigate?
That I won't investigate?
Right.
Okay, like if you told me, Seth Paul, a lot of people died in Syria because the terrorists kill a lot of their own people. And there's reports of hauntings in Syria. Do you want to investigate it? No. I have no desire. Not Syria, So
I don't blame you.
I mean, I went to, yeah. In fact, I just saw a National Geographic story called The State, based on people who left the United States and left England to go to Syria to join ISIS, and all the terrible, terrible things that happened to them. So, yeah, I have no desire investigating places like Syria. I have investigated Guatemala, and that was terrible, because Guatemala, at one time, had a dictator that killed a lot of his people out there.
Mm-hmm.
You have the MS-13 gang out there and they walk around with machetes, and they kill people with machetes. You have security guards, soldiers, and police with machine guns. When I was in Guatemala, I went over to a park, and here's the security guard with a machine gun staring me down, just staring me down. And it's like, okay, what's going on? And why do you have to stare at me like this? And then he kind of points his gun at me. It's like, what? You know, it's like, I'm not having fun here, you know? And I went out there and I collected some paranormal stories, but I didn't feel comfortable investigating. If I pull out my digital recorder, do they think I'm going to be that I'm some kind of spy? You know, am I going to be taken hostage? You know, am I going to be arrested? I would try to take a photograph of something. No, you can't take a photograph of that. No, I can't take a photograph. Why? Why? It's just a building. It's like, yeah, I had a horrible time there. And even though Guatemala supposedly is very, very haunted, I did get some good stories. It was almost impossible to investigate. And so a place like that, I have no desire ever going back to.
Yeah, that's... someone just mentioned, actually, in Spreaker chat that Craig, as a matter of fact, said that Guatemala is probably more dangerous than Syria. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I was very foolish, and I didn't do my research, but I had a good deal to go to Guatemala.
Mm-hmm.
The airplane ticket was really cheap, round trip, $600. I said, yeah, I'm going to Guatemala. Well, I've been to Costa Rica. Deanna and myself been to Panama City, Panama, and those are really cool places. Costa Rica, very nice. Okay, Belize is nice. But here I go to Guatemala, and I'm smiling because I'm thinking, wow, I really got over $600 round trip. Okay, I'm going to have a great vacation. I got a cheap hotel, but it's nice. I get over there. I had a terrible time. I mean, I spent 7 days there, and then I'm looking out at my hotel window, and I'm saying to myself, I want to go home. I want to go home. It was just terrible, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. We got about 7 minutes before the next break. We got a question in Spreaker chat, and then I want to ask you a question, Paul.
Okay.
What does Paul know about the pic taken via SOR, which is Spaced Out Radio? Is Spaced Out Radio's Dave Scott about Dave's tour, and what does he think of it? It's I think there's a picture of a ghost. I don't know if you have Spreaker, Paul. There's a link in here for it, or Twitter or anything like that.
I don't have. Well, I did have Twitter, but I don't have Twitter now.
That's okay. I think you have you have Facebook, right?
No, I'm on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to maybe send you the link, and you can take a look at it over the break.
Yeah, send me the link. So what's the photo of?
There's like a person had taken a picture, and it's like a shadow figure, a ghost. I think what BTO is trying to get at is the authenticity. I'm not sure, but it's a good one. I'll have to show that to you.
Well, tell him to go to my Facebook wall and look for Paul Dale Roberts, and he can see the picture of my wife took where she's standing there, and there's a man's shadow next to her. So that's really weird. I mean, and I just can't explain it. So, and if you try to recreate it, you can't, so I don't understand where that shadow came from. But, yeah, Paul Dale Roberts. And I think it's on my wife's Facebook wall, too. And her name's Deanna Jackson Stinson. So you can either go to her Facebook wall or my Facebook wall and see that. And I'll check out the other photo.
Right. I'm looking for it right now so I can get it over to you. And I can tag you in that picture, in that photo.
Okay.
Right. So now we do have 5 minutes before the next break. And I was just wondering if you, because I remember when you were on with me on my show Beyond the Strange, you had a lot of stories about Panama.
Oh yeah, Panama. I got stories about all the places I've been to, like Brazil, Amsterdam, Spain, Morocco. Dominican Republic, Haiti. So yeah, I got some. Yeah, I got some good stories. Yeah.
Did you want to share one before the break?
Well, one of the stories, when I went to, oh gosh, there's so many different ones. The bridge over River Kwai over in Thailand. Okay, there's so many people that were tortured there, the military, POWs. They even made a movie about the bridge over River Kwai. And I think John Wayne was in that movie. I'm not sure. But anyway, when I got there, the whole, I don't know what it was, because Thailand is actually a very fun place, in Bangkok and everything else. But when I got over there, you can just feel the atmosphere. It was just so depressing. You had like a feeling of dread. And I was talking to some of the other tourists too, and they all had this similar feeling of dread. And there's just something about that, and it's probably because so many people were tortured and killed there that this depression still remains in the air. And that just tells you that energy is so strong. I can walk into a house. And supposedly with demonic activity or mischievous entities. And as soon as you walk in a house, and everything's okay outside, but as soon as you walk in the house, it's just this depression, this sadness. And, you know, you talk to the occupants, sometimes I've had occupants who have been suicidal. I had occupants who have been homicidal, and, you know, where they've talked about killing their wives and stuff. And it's so weird. And I've had investigators where they had to walk outside from a house because the house inside, the atmosphere was so depressing. And I felt it. So, and then when I do a blessing in the house, and then all of a sudden the atmosphere feels lighter. And I'll even look at the occupant and I said, does it feel better? And they go, yeah, it feels better. It's just so weird. And when I went to Bridge over River Kwai, I'll never forget that feeling. It's just the whole place was just depressing. I can't explain it. It was just, I don't know. It's just, if I had to stay there, I would probably think about jumping off a cliff or something. It was just that depressing.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, I was able to find that picture, and it is of a ghost that's climbing up some stairs, actually, and it's not on Facebook. I had the wrong, I was looking at the wrong thing, but I sent you a link, and you should be able to see it. Maybe you can take a look at it during the break in your messenger, so you can so you can take a look at that. So that's I love pictures like this. I mean, it's you know, you there's a little bit of skepticism, of course, along with everything. But when you look at it, it's really, I think it's really cool. So, anyways, why don't we go ahead and take the break now, and when we come back, we'll talk some more with Mr. Paul Dale Roberts. Don't go away. This is Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Saturday nights, and I am your host, Dave Cruz. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Hi there. I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
All right, space travelers, coming around the home stretch. Welcome back to Space Out Saturday nights with me, Dave Cruz. You can catch Elizabeth Anglin tomorrow night on Psychic Sundays as she hosts Spaced Out Sundays Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. And you can also catch me on Beyond Strange Radio, Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is go to spacedoutradio.com/paranormal. Click on the Beyond the Strange button for the links and info to the show. We want to welcome everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. And we are also live in the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We're also broadcasting over 160 countries around the world, and we are live on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, as well as KTLK, thefringe.fm. Find us on TuneIn and iTunes for download, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Head on over to the website for some great features from videos from UFO seekers and Contact TV. Stop at the store and pick up some t-shirts, posters, and stickers. And don't forget to rock out to our resident guitar god, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, who is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. And once again, I'd like to thank our guest for being with us tonight, Mr. Paul Dale Roberts. Paul, thank you again for being on the show.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Yeah, Dave, I saw the picture on Facebook, and that is a very unusual picture.
It is, isn't it? I was looking at it too.
Yeah.
It's crazy looking.
Yeah, I mean, it's stolen. Yeah, I don't know. So where was that taken at?
You know, that's a good question. Some of our space travelers might be able to answer that, but I cannot. So if you guys are listening in Facebook or Spreaker or Twitter, send me over a message, and maybe you can let me know some more about that, because Dave Scott hasn't told me about that picture very much. Yeah, but it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, very, very creepy. Yeah.
Or disturbing, I should say. But I digress.
Now, you were asking me before we went on break about some of my international travels.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So one of the places I went to was Jamaica. I've been to Haiti, and I went to the Dominican Republic. But when I was in Jamaica, over there they have the legend of the White Witch of Jamaica, or she's known as the Jamaica Witch of the West. And this lady, her real name was Annie Palmer. And there's a place that she resided at called the Rose Hall. And this was another place. As soon as I walked in there, the atmosphere was just really depressing. And the history there, back in the 1700s, she had a sugar plantation, and she had many African slaves. And Anne Palmer, she was very petite. She only stood 4 feet tall, so she was a very short woman, and she was from France. And legend has it that she was having sex with some of the slaves. And if she had sex with you, and this went around with all the slaves were really scared, because if they had sex with her, she would kill you afterwards. She would either have other slaves restrain you, tie you up, and she would torture you. She would take something like a razor, something that was very sharp, and shred your skin, or peel off your skin, or cut your genitals. So she also she practiced voodoo, and they said that she experimented with human blood, animal blood, baby skin, and all kinds of other different things. She was just really notorious in Jamaica. She killed a lot of slaves. There was a lot of slaves who were tortured in her dungeon. And going in that place, it just felt really terrible. It just like when I went to the Tower of London, the same thing. There was just something depressing about that place. And if you go to regular London, everything's fine. You go to the east end of London where Jack the Ripper was, and again, you feel that depression. I mean, you don't even have to be a psychic. You don't have to be a paranormal investigator. You can just feel that energy. It's just depressing. A lot of death. So what happened at the Rose Hall, all these slaves who were tortured and murdered and slaughtered by this little 4 feet woman, this witch, the place will always, forever, probably have that depressing. I did get an EVP there, and the EVP that I got, it sounded like a man screaming. So that was really interesting to get that EVP. I tried EVPs in other areas of Rose Hall, but I was unsuccessful. But then I got this one EVP, and it really sounded like a man screaming. It was close to the Tucson area.
That would freak me out.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, again, this is partly why I let people like you, Paul, do the investigations, not because I'm scared or terrified. I've already felt a ghost. I've already felt a person die, basically. So there's that, and I know they're real. Can they hurt you? Maybe. I don't think they want to. But you know, there's in my opinion, there's really nothing to be scared of as far as ghosts are concerned. But demons, on the other hand, are different. And the thing that to me would probably be the worst part is what you are describing as far as feeling all the negative energy that comes along with these investigations. It's horrible. It sounds like it.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. And you know, it's like I talked to some ghost hunters on Facebook, and they said, I just started my new group, and I got equipment and every place else. I'm all dressed up and got no place to go. I go, you're kidding me. It's like so many places in the world are haunted. People die all over the planet. What do you mean there's no place to investigate? I mean, we went to a rock quarry in Penryn, and you go to this rock quarry. Back in the day when they were digging up all this granite, a lot of those miners were either severely injured or they died there. And sure enough, we've gotten EVPs at this rock quarry. So to say that there's no place to investigate, or you're not getting any phone calls because no one's calling you to investigate their house, you got to look, reach out from out of the box. There's just so many different places. You just got to, it's easy to find a place that are haunted because people died all over the planet. I mean, like before the white man was here, you had Indian villages and you had Indians fighting different other Indians, and they were dying on the land. So like when you go to Mount Shasta, okay, yeah, you're over there investigating UFO activity because of the caverns inside Mount Shasta, or you're investigating Bigfoot. But also, too, there's a lot of ghostly activity because there was a lot of massacres out there where different Indian tribes were fighting other Indian tribes.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah, so, yeah. And like right now, my nephew, Nicholas Jacoby, he's in Bali. And he's a popular DJ in Los Angeles, and sometimes he plays as a DJ in Moscow, Russia. So he gets around, and he loves living internationally. But I was like looking at Bali, and I've never been there, but they got so much stuff over there that's haunted. And you're talking about a small island, but you have like a place called the Ghost Palace Hotel. It's actually called the Ghost Palace Hotel. And tourists claim that they see wandering spirits of laborers that were killed there during construction of that hotel. So you have that going on. You have the and what's so interesting about this, okay, is there was a commercial fisherman by the name of Robert Delany, and he claims that he actually encountered Flying Dutchman near Tahiti in 1996. And he encountered the Padang, which is a ship that sank over there. It was a shipwreck near Bali in 2014. So he's a commercial fisherman, but he saw the Flying Dutchman, and everybody about the Flying Dutchman near Tahiti, and he sees this other ghostly ship, the Padang. And that's what it is. The abandoned wreck of Padang Padang over there is a ghostly ship around Bali. Isn't that weird?
That's highly bizarre. What is that doing there?
What's that?
No, I was just saying, what is it doing there? You know?
Oh, well, when the ship wrecked, all these people died. So it was a huge shipping vessel, and it went down in July 2008. And when they found the ship, the captain and the crew were not on the ship. They were nowhere to be found. They simply vanished. But the ghostly image of the ship is still seen in the ocean. So, and it's kind of weird though. Robert Delaney, he saw the Flying Dutchman, and then he saw the Padang Padang, which is just crazy. I don't know. But there's a lot of tourists. Yeah, a lot of tourists out there claim, that they see this ghostly ship. And what happened to the captain and the crew? Well, how did they just vanish? So, did aliens take them, or did they go into another dimension? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories about missing vessels and how people just disappear. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, E.T. that probably has a hand in it somehow. But we're talking big, whole vessels being seen. That's the interesting part.
Well, but you know what? Okay, you want to know something even more creepy? Okay.
Sure.
And I need to take my wife over to Bali. Okay. Because Bali, talk about paranormal stuff. They have a place called Muya Beach. Okay, it has beautiful white sand. It's just a place that tourists love to go. The white sands and the gentle waves. But they have, on the beach, every once in a while they find these mysterious dull vampires, and they're called jinglots. And they wash up on the shore, and nobody knows where they come from. And they say that the jinglot is like a terrifying beast, and it looks like a tiny human being, or it looks like a tiny human fetus, this doll thing. And they said it will drink your blood, or it'll take control of its victim. And if it takes control of you, legend has it that when a person is controlled by a jinglot, it may influence that person to commit suicide or even to commit murder. And there was a local traditional healer out there named Gerald Monku who neutralized a jinglet before the two joggers who encountered these dull vampires lost their mind. So he was able to somehow counteract these little monsters. I don't know how he did it. And some other lady over there named Carolyn Banks, she was walking down the beach, and she claims she saw 3 jinglots jump on her legs, and they bit her all over her legs. And she ran away in terror. She was really scared. And her boyfriend chased the jinglots away by growling real loud and throwing sand at the jinglots. So when Carolyn's boyfriend was taking her home to nurse her wounds, she started hitting her boyfriend and thought about killing him. So it seems like the jinglot somehow took control of her. And Carolyn also went into a full submersion baptism, and the thoughts of murder left her mind. So that's similar to like what I do. I do a full submersion baptism on a person to get rid of their attachment. And Carolyn, this lady who was attacked by these jinglots, she went to a full submersion baptism, and the thoughts of murder left her mind. So that's another weird thing over in Bali. So if I ever went to Bali, I mean, it seems like I have a lot of stuff to investigate.
That does sound bizarre. I mean, that's just, you know, it sounds like mind control, but, you know, and it is, but I don't think I've ever, well, it's almost like a possession, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they just got really creepy things over there. They got another beach over there, and I just couldn't believe it. It was like I was texting my nephew, Nicholas. I said, God, you know, if you're a paranormal investigator, you got so much stuff to investigate. And he's actually been to a lot of these different areas, and he himself has experienced different things. He hasn't experienced a Tinglet, but he was telling me, too, they have a place over there. It's called Padang Galak Beach. And they got some kind of female sea goddess that's named Pyrrhus that haunts that beach. And Padang Galak means Pyrrhus. So the sea goddess Pyrrhus. Well, she goes around, she looks for surfers and tries to drown her victims. And one time, this kite was actually killed a boy on the beach. It was said that this boy was laughing, he was making fun of the sea goddess Pyrrhus and saying she didn't exist. While flying his kite, the kite came crashing down by this strong wind, and part of the kite stuck him right in the eye, impaling the front of his brain, killing him instantly.
God.
Yeah. And so the sea goddess Pyrrhus, she's known to take down surfers. She pulls them off their surfboards, and she takes them to the bottom of the ocean and drowns them. And these are some of the stories at Bali. Why are these people, these island people, telling these stories? Are they really true? I mean, I'm sitting here in Sacramento, and I want to go to Bali and investigate some of this stuff. Is this stuff really happening? You know, it just sounds crazy. But
it sounds fantastic.
It's just, these people swear up and down these things are happening. So I don't know.
And before I forget, Paul, I just wanted to, I mean, that's a fascinating story, by the way. I mean, everything you've been just talking about has just been amazing. But I wanted to get back to that picture real quick before I forget, so you'll know what it is. Maybe you'll go out there sometime. I believe it's at a place called the Clydesdale Barn at 108 Mike Heritage Site, BC, Canada. Is that British Columbia, Canada? I believe 108 Mile Ranch.
Oh, so it happened in Canada.
Yeah. So this British, we have a listener, Don Baker, who has family that's tied to this barn. So that's where the picture was taken. Very cool, Don. Thank you for sharing that, and with Dave and sharing it with us tonight, and made Paul really check it out pretty good. So, I mean, like I said, there's something else to look at. But yeah, all these different places around the world, Paul, it's just fascinating. I'm sure you've heard many tales and stories of the supernatural. And what's your take on zombies? And I don't mean the Walking Dead type zombies. I mean, that's maybe one of these days, who knows. But like the kind that are in Haiti, or the Caribbean, that kind of thing. Maybe even African.
I don't
countries.
Yeah, I don't really think that the pufferfish is a type of poison that kind of gives them a paralysis. So, I mean, that's like one of the things that is happening there. I think there's a medical explanation for zombification, and it has to do a lot with the pufferfish and other type of chemicals that they may use to make a person obedient like that, and or cause them to do things. All you have to do is make them a slave and tell them to go over there and pick the sugar cane, and they'll pick the sugar canes. So, yeah, I don't really think it fits into the paranormal. I just think there's actually a scientific explanation for it. So that's my thought on it.
Right. I mean, I know what you're saying, that it could be chemically induced, because it's a poison maybe, and it acts like it makes the person seem like they might have died and come back, maybe with some brain damage. Who knows? Because they didn't breathe.
They use, like, I heard that they use some type of potent neurotoxin that is part of the zombie potion. And so it seems very scientific what they're doing. They're using these different ingredients to make you an obedient slave. Like when I went to Haiti, I mean, there's talk of people who are really zombies out there. And the people that I talked to, they're talking about it. It's just a hot pot of nasty ingredients, and it's something that they learned, and they use ingredients from poison frogs, pufferfish, and other type of elements. So they're using some type of science to control those people.
Yeah, that's fascinating in itself. I find a lot of things are actually, some of these things that are scientifically based or real are even stranger than fiction, And again, that's interesting that they've been doing this for so many years, and it's I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. And I mean, it would be interesting to see a real zombie, or for those who watch Game of Thrones, White Walker, whatever. But I don't know if. See, that's the thing is how far does the supernatural go? I mean, it's we see stuff on TV like the show Supernatural, and these guys are hunting things that sound more like urban legend or myths than the real stuff.
Yeah, and basically what the supernatural and paranormal is science that has not been discovered yet. Because if you look at it, I mean, Einstein says that E equals mc squared, that energy can be converted into matter and matter into energy. So therefore, our matter bodies, if you look at it into the quantum level, we're made of atoms and neutrons and electrons, and we are pure energy. So to say that a ghost doesn't exist, if a human being exists, a ghost can exist. And all living things have energy around it. And when you die, where does that energy go? And it floats around the atmosphere. And a lot of people, they wonder about reincarnation. Well, okay, here's this little baby born upon the world. Uh-huh. And a deceased person's energy is floating around the atmosphere. And the little baby has these psychic abilities up to age 8 years old. And then usually they lose it after 8 years old. And they pick up on this energy of this deceased person. And this energy contains all the knowledge, everything that deceased person experienced. And he's John Smith of 1803. And the little baby born upon the world picks up on the energy of John Smith of 1803 and downloads that information. And now this child grows up and remembers everything that John Smith of 1803 did. And people go, wow, this child was reincarnated. Well, not really. All he did was download the information from the energy of a deceased person. And now he can recall all the events of that deceased person because he downloaded this information. It's like downloading information into a computer. And that's what really reincarnation is. It's not that you're actually that person. You just uploaded all their information.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, and if you look at Kirlian photography, you take a picture of a leaf, you take a picture of your palms, your fingers, and you see this energy all around it. Well, this energy, where does it go? I mean, so this energy has all your information, everything that you're looking at. You're like a video camera walking down the street, and your eyes, everything that they see, it's uploading that information into your brain. And there's neurons and electrons are just shooting all around your brain that you're looking at this house. Well, that energy still exists. You can't destroy that energy. You can change it around a little bit, but you can't destroy it. So where does that energy go? It's floating around someplace. But what you saw, you're like a permanent video camera. Everything you look at, it's on a permanent basis. It's still energy. It still lives. And they say that, like, when you go on your computer, and your computer shoots out radio waves. So you're typing a very angry letter to your boss. You're really mad. You got this angry letter, and then you think about it, and you go, well, you know what? I'm going to delete it. I can't send this out to my boss. But that email that you wrote, and even though you deleted it, still exists as a radio wave. It continues out into outer space. And it lives on forever because it's pure energy. And every living human being out here, they say that when you die, your life flashes in front of your face. Well, it probably flashes in front of your face because you uploaded all that information in your energy soul, your aura, and now you're about ready to die. So your soul, your aura, now plays that all in front of you, and you see everything you did as a child up to the time of your death. So that's where your life flashes in front of your eyes, is because that information's in your aura, in your soul.
So we're basically walking videotapes?
Absolutely, yeah. You're recording everything. And with your eyes, you're a walking video camera. You're a walking recorder. Everything you speak and hear, and everything you think about, all your dreams, everything, it's all recorded in energy. And that's where the Akashic Records comes in. Legend has it all the way back to early mankind, information that was given to them by the gods, that there's this Akashic record in the universe that has all the knowledge all the ideas, all the thoughts, and everything of every living thing in the universe that exists in these records. And it's called the Akashic Records, something that the prophet, I can't think of his name right now.
That's all right.
Major prophet, I can't think. Yeah. But anyway, he was a major prophet, and he had access to the Akashic Records. And he was called the sleeping prophet. So if any of your listeners are out there, if you know what I'm talking about, if you Google sleeping prophet, you'll get his name. And I just can't think of it right now. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I'm sure that someone will come through. Someone will come through with it.
Okay, the sleeping prophet. Anyway, he would actually lay down, close his eyes, and he would have all this medical knowledge. He only, I don't even think he graduated from high school, but he had all this scientific knowledge and everything else. And where was he getting it from? He said from the Akashic Records. He was even getting information about Atlantis. Gosh, I wish I could think of his name. You don't have
we got
computer
names
in front
coming
of you, do
in.
you?
We got names coming in. We got Edgar Casey.
Edgar Casey, that's him. Edgar Casey.
There you go. We had a couple of other ones too, but yeah, Edgar Casey.
Yeah, Edgar Casey. Okay. And he was getting his information from the Akashic Records. Yeah. So, and I actually believe that the Akashic Records is a universal library that exists and will always exist in all the living things of the universe. Some living things have access to the Akashic Records. And when you get to a level after death, a higher level, then we probably will have access to the Akashic Records.
Does it... I mean, it talks about the Akashic Records. I think I want to relate it to something I know more of, like, you know, the Christian Judeo Bible. I'm not an expert. I didn't take apologetics or anything like that. But when I hear, since I've been doing this, Paul, it just seems like everything is kind of the same, or it's related. Like, you know, a lot of the secret teachings in, you know, of India or or of the East, you know, they match up with some of you know, the Hebrew writings. And then, you know, you go back even further, maybe in ancient Orient, Asian countries, they have you know, these writings. And then, you know, you go back even further to Ethiopia or Africa, and but a lot of that is oral tradition, where they pass it down by talking about it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, one of the things is, okay, let me tell you something. Okay, you know, you heard of the Library of Alexandria, right?
Yes.
Okay. And supposedly a fire destroyed all these documents, these ancient documents. And these ancient documents, I mean, has all kinds of great history in there. And what a great loss that was. But what's so interesting is the Library of Alexandria actually still exists. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so you have these ancient scribes writing on these scrolls. Okay, and they were destroyed by a fire. But the light that hit those scrolls as the scribe was writing, for that scribe to see what he was writing, was produced by that light. And light is energy. The light from that scroll bounces back into the atmosphere, into outer space, and lives on forever. So everything that existed that you could read in the Library of Alexandria, due to light, is reflected back, lives on. And you can ask any scientist about this, but let's say some aliens are on the other side of the galaxy, and they're looking at Earth. While they're looking at the Earth from the past, they're looking at the light that's reflecting from Earth on the other side of the galaxy is of the past. So if they had a telescope that could be magnified, they could see Julius Caesar in Rome talking to all these people in the stadium because they're seeing the light from the past. So everything that exists on Earth, that's happening on Earth, is being reflected by light. And that light lives on because it's energy. So everything in the Library of Alexandria that you could see, that you could read, is reflected by light, and it still exists today. But it's way out there in the universe.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah,
it's late, Paul. that's just really heavy stuff. But no, man, it's all good. Seriously,
And you know what I did? What I did, Dave? I actually they on the computer they have what's called Ask a Scientist. So when this popped in my head, I went and asked a scientist about it, and the scientist says, "Yeah, Paul, what you're talking about is very well true. Light is reflected off the planet. It goes into space. You're looking at, if you're on Jupiter, you're looking at Earth in the past. It might be a few days in the past, but you're looking at Earth in the past. And if you did have a magnifying glass, you would see everything happening those few days back from the past. And because it's reflected off the Earth, and that light just continues on and on and on."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, energy doesn't die.
No, it doesn't die.
So
that's pretty cool, huh?
I think so. I mean, you know, and here's something that's kind of bothered me, because you know, you run across not only debunkers or skeptics, but you know, people who just don't believe in any of this. And they're the ones that say, well, you know, once you die, you just basically go into the ground and you rot, you know, and the story. And it's like, wow, that's sad to think that. But, you know, it's a possibility. You know, we don't know. We really don't know until we experience it. But here's something that I've always been disturbed about. When I've had 2 major operations already, and I've been put under. I don't remember a thing when I go under and I come back out of it, and I'm just like groggy and yeah, whatever. But it's like from the time that I went under to the time that I came out of it, there was no time. You know, I don't know if you've ever been under, you know, if you've ever done surgery to where they put you to sleep and then they, you know, and with anesthetic. But it's like,
when I got my gallbladder out, they put me under.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I mean, that was one of my surgeries, and it dawns on you. Well, at least with me, that is that how it is when you die. You're done. You don't. If I wouldn't have woke up, I would have known nothing. You know. I mean, that's it. I mean, it would have been like I went to sleep and I just never woke up.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I don't think that's considered as flatlining. You're under, but you're still living, your brain's still going. your brain just can't remember what's going on. It's like, like sometimes I'll have a dream at night, and I'll wake up because I have to go to the bathroom. And I go, wow, that was a really good dream because I just woke up and I can still remember the dream. I said, in the morning, I'm going to have to write that dream down. I go back to sleep, I can't remember the dream anymore. Or I sleep all night, and I go, well, I didn't dream. Well, they say that you dream every night, but I just can't remember it. So I just don't think when we're put under, we can remember the things that are happening. So when we die, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I hope it's not like that. I mean, because it would. It's just bizarre.
Well,
too.
Something though. Even if it was, though, your legacy is going to always live on. Okay, the things that you do, that you accomplish, like the radio show that we're doing right now, it's going to live on forever. It's going to be in the universe out there. It's going to be floating in the atmosphere. It's going to be in outer space. It's going to be the radio show. This radio show and all your other radio shows will never, never die because it's pure energy. And one of the things that's really neat, one of the things that's really cool is, in Popular Science, one of the articles that I was reading, it says that we're making our own Akashic records with the internet. All the information all the scanning we do, all the emails we do, Twitter, Facebook, uploading pictures, talking on your cell phone, all that stuff, videos, TV, movies, all that stuff is floating in the atmosphere. It's going into outer space. We're making our own Akashic records, all that information. And they said that information will live on forever. Isn't that weird? That's just so cool.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So your legacy, no matter what, will live on forever.
Well, I like the way you put that, Paul. I hope so, because my kids don't seem to think so. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're actually, they think what I do is pretty cool. Let's see. Trying to think of anything that we might not have covered. We got ghosts, cryptids, UFOs,
Akashic records.
Akashic records. We've talked about that. Zombies.
Yeah.
There was
we
something.
We figured out who the sleeping prophet was, Edgar Casey.
That's right. Yeah, we did. And we got about 12 minutes left in the show. Actually, we got about maybe 7 minutes left in the show. I know there was a couple of questions. They're just really buried underneath all these tweets and comments. And thank you everybody for coming out and listening. It's been a great show. I want to thank you guys ahead of time, but they just tweet and comment so much. I got to go back and look for the comments. But there was an interesting question. I'm trying to get to it before we end the show. And I know I'm not going to find it now. So, interesting. What is this? Dennis actually, Dennis comes in and says, what does Paul think of the Seth files?
The what files?
It looks like he's saying the Seth files. SETH. I've never heard of that.
Oh, Seth. Something? I have heard of that, but I'm not sure what it is. But I've actually heard someone talking about the Seth files, but I'm not sure what it is. Huh. Does he say what it is?
Not yet, but knowing Dennis, he'll go back and look for it.
Oh, wait. I think it has to do with something with ufology.
Maybe.
If I remember right. Yeah, I think so.
You could be right. There's another question about a universal creator. Let me find that one real quick, and then I'll see if I can find what's going on with the Seth files. Oh, Soul comes in. Welcome to the show, Soul. 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 Does an event exist in the Akashic records even before it has happened?
They say that time, the past, present, and future is all on one straight line. So anything in the past has already existed. Everything in the present still exists in the future. And they say that's why sometimes aliens, when the abductees encounter some of these aliens, they already seem like they already know what the future is because the future already existed. So I don't quite understand that, but scientists, a lot of scientists, even Einstein, said that the past, present, and future all exist on the same line. So there you have it.
Okay, interesting. With the Akashic records. Okay, so I found something called the Seth material.
I'm sorry. I'm going to say one more thing. And also, too, different things. Okay, let's say if you're time traveling, okay, if I were to go into the past and I could somehow alter something, what happens is another shoot, a different timeline will occur. So you still have the one timeline, now you have another timeline, and if you keep on going into the past and changing things around, you have several timelines. So that happens. And also, too, these two ladies in France, they went into a green mist and they went back into time to the Renaissance period. And when they got there, they were seeing the Renaissance period. They were ghosts of the past. They couldn't touch anybody. They couldn't change things around. They couldn't alternate history because they were like spirits. So if we were to time travel into the past, we would probably be like ghosts. We couldn't change the past because we would be like ghost-like beings. But anyway, I'll let you get back to Seth. Okay.
No, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Again. Well, let's go ahead and get to BTO's commercial. Sorry, I keep saying question. Anyways, he wants to know, who does Paul feel that the universal creator really is?
I think it's sort of like an Akashic record. It's a gathering of intelligence, knowledge throughout the whole universe, and this energy, this knowledge, could become something intelligent, to become a universal being, a God. And let's say artificial intelligence actually takes hold, and it will one day. And all the knowledge from the internet, on our computers, this artificial intelligence, and that's why scientists are so scared about artificial intelligence taking over, and that this artificial intelligence can start attacking mankind, because it can become a godlike being. It would gather all this knowledge. This artificial intelligence would gather all this knowledge from the internet, from our cell phone conversations, everything, and have full control of all this energy around the world. and start turning off our energy, turning off our lights, turning off our gas, everything. It could become a godlike being. It could be benevolent or it could be malevolent. So maybe the Akashic Records is some type of supreme God that has incredible knowledge of the whole universe.
That would totally make sense. And you know what? Let's go ahead and just stop there, because I want to have you come back again for the update when you do your investigation in October, and we can talk more about the Seth. I believe now it's called the Seth Material, or the Seth Material Files, and talk about that some more. It seems pretty interesting as well. Paul, where can everyone find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Facebook by just typing in Paul Dale Roberts. Paul Dale Roberts. My website is www.jasmaonline, and you can see a lot of my stories under HPI, Haunted Paranormal Investigations, or Halo Paranormal Investigations. If you have a paranormal situation and you're in Northern California, you can contact me at 916-203-7503. 916-203-7503. And if you want to see some of my other paranormal stories, all you have to do is just Google Paul Dale Roberts, and a lot of my stories will pop up.
Excellent. Paul, thank you so much for being on the show. I've had a great time.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dave. I really enjoyed the show. It was just great. So thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to talking to you after Boston.
That's going to be awesome. Thanks again, man. You have a great evening.
Okay, you too. All right. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Paul Dale Roberts, everybody. Thank you all again for not ending with the rest of the world. So, remember tomorrow night, Elizabeth Anglin, Cosmic Passport, and you can catch me, Dave Cruz, Beyond Strange. Go to beyondstrange.com for more information, and everyone have a great evening, have a good night, and we'll see you later. Stay spacey. Hasta.
I built them to destroy myself. They're circling the prey. I push until I break. I feel them start to scrape. The core of all I am is chiseling away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone. It's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct, love is to deny. And that is life. And the clocks, they never stop, they tear beneath my skin. The clocks keep building up, they rip new holes again. You're here to turn me inside out, and then turn me away. For all my life I choke on clouds of savior smoke, until my blackened soul was burning away. Every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts